Hello, ladies and gentlemen, I am Admiral Ellis, and this is Under Construction Episode 101. This week, we're going to be doing Route Building 101, as we do every week. As a matter of fact, we're going to be working mostly around the areas of the swamp that we've yet to finish, because I really would like to see us get to the edge of the Ciara River, or at least close by the end of this episode. Starting with doing grass along these highways and stuff here, we are going to be doing our 30 minutes-ish segments, but since we're going to be working in the same area, it's not going to matter all that much. It's probably going to be more like last episode, where we just sort of worked on something, called it 30 minutes, and then worked on a very similar thing, you doing almost the same thing for 30 minutes. So, if you're not interested in seeing the scenery, well, maybe you can skip this, or maybe you can just put it on in the background, as I'm sure you do with many of these episodes, because, let's be honest, the majority of the time that isn't programming in trains is scenery. Or running, if you really do spend that much time running, which I suppose is really what you're supposed to be doing. But that's not how we play the game. We're here to build this under construction, not run. I failed that joke. Anyway, speaking of running trains, we are a couple of weeks away from a route review, and I don't have a route yet. So if you have a route that you would like me to review, feel free to join the Iron Horseman Discord server and hit me up. I'm on there. I'm Admiral Ellis, just like I am just about everywhere now. YouTube is one of the biggest exceptions to this thus far. Also, I have a old channel called Admiral Ellis, so I'm going to have to figure out what to do with that. But I am going to change this over at some point. It just might be a little jarring for a lot of people, so I'm sort of hesitating. Just waiting on that. It is a little bit more recognizable, I think, than Bombs 321, so... And it also has my name in it, so that's another important factor. I ran into a guy at Stop and Shop. He was checking me out. And I wasn't checking him out because I'm not gay. Also because I don't work there, and he wasn't a customer. But he, of course, being a cashier, was checking me out. And he was like, "You look familiar." And I was like, "I do?" To be honest, he kind of looked familiar too, and I thought I knew him maybe from school or something, and I was like, did you go to Cranston schools? And he was like, "No, I didn't." Or, well, no, he went to Cranston East, but years after I did, and I was like, I don't know. Why do I look familiar? No, maybe he knew somebody that I knew, and it spanned across the grades or something, but it would have been really kind of weird, because he would have been in middle school when I was in high school. I don't know. Either way, he looked familiar. And he was like, "You also look familiar." And I wanted to say, yeah, would you subscribe to Bombs321 on YouTube? But I literally thought, there's no way that's the case. I'm not going to do a dumb self-promotion here and just be like, "Oh, you should, have you heard of my YouTube channel?" It just seems so, I don't know, self-aggrandizing to tell that to somebody. Of course, I can't really get many more subscribers without promotion, but I feel like bringing people into the Discord and stuff like that, that's the kind of thing where where I'm okay with promoting things. Anyway, if you want to get into the Discord and talk to me and talk to everybody else, you can do so by using the link that is in the cargoes of the most recent Terminus podcast. That is a link that will forever exist, so you can share that one with your friends and stuff. That's ideally going to be the one link to join the server. But it is what it is. So, yeah, we're going to be doing all these trees around here, or all the grass and then all the trees, as we have done, as you are probably very familiar with. Or familiar with is how you actually pronounce that. I corrected somebody's grammar today, and I was like, I don't want to be a grammar Nazi any more than the next guy does, although I guess the next guy could be somebody who really does enjoy it. I don't want to be a grammar Nazi, but I don't like it when people use improper grammar and stuff like that. I know, call me crazy, but it is what it is. As somebody who writes a lot, I like to see people writing properly, and when somebody makes a silly mistake, like misusing there, and there, or something like that, I feel like I have to speak up, because that isn't necessarily the kind of thing where somebody's doing it because they're lazy and they want to use the shortcuts. It's oftentimes people are using it because they don't know better. They don't know what the right there is, and that is a problem. Somebody taking shortcuts because they can is very different than somebody who is doing something because they literally don't know what the right way is, or what the right words are, or right spelling is, or whatever. And that I take issue with. My inner English teacher hates that. And we did, and we still will take guest scripts for the Horsemen. And when I look at a guest script, if it doesn't have, proper grammar and spelling and punctuation and stuff, it sort of turns me off to the idea that this person is a writer who knows what they're doing. And that doesn't mean go out and get Grammarly, which I get 10,000 advertisements for a day. I despise that. I want to know how to do it myself. I don't need a program that does it for me. I don't like that. I don't really like autocorrect. I don't like any of that stuff. I'm against these handicaps, or these, not handicaps, cheating easy mode. Not really, though. They are really good tools. I mean, autocorrect, of course, but even Grammarly is a really, really cool and very well-developed piece of software. I don't ever want to use it myself, but that doesn't mean it isn't, honestly, kind of impressive. Just to look at the things that it can do. Anyway, I've got Oliver here with me again. He's laying on the couch next to me. He's just kind of looking cute, quietly panting because it's hot. I turned on the air conditioning, but the air conditioning can only really do so much. It is hot in here. All right. Okay. Next section is over here. This, I don't really know what to do with. Let me think. So I need to do... Should I have, more trees in here? That's sort of what I'm thinking about, right? More trees in here, and then maybe just a sort of tongue of really grassy stuff? I don't know what else to describe this shape as, other than a tongue. There's a name for it, I'm sure. Let's see. Let's put this over here. I want to finish this canyon, and I want to finish the area around the swamp, which we've basically done at this point. The swamp is very nearly complete. And I'm so excited to finally lay that to rest, say we're done over there, and move on to other things. So that's a really big deal. The swamp is a huge piece of this portion of the route, and getting to that point and finishing it means that we're like a third of the way through the actual woodland scenery, or the middle of nowhere scenery, which is a gigantic milestone, because also, considering a lot of the other scenery is already done, that means that the minor scenery, or the empty wasteland scenery is kind of already there. There's another spot that I really wanted to do something creative with that we might turn our attention to towards the end of the show. And it's the area just towards, and not necessarily towards the end of the show, but later, is what I mean. It's the area just after the tunnel, after the Y, up the VMR. The Y itself, I think, does need some love and some attention, because right now it doesn't really make a lot of sense, I don't think. But I don't know. I'm a little bit confused with what to do with it. If anybody has an idea for scenery up there, feel free to let me know. We already have one farm along that right-of-way that's abandoned, so I don't really want to go with the second one, and I might go with an actual active industry up there, which would be interesting to switch out, to say the least. But aside from that, I don't have any real concerted ideas over what to do with that area. So, if anybody has any ideas, feel free to let me know. It's too big and empty of an area to just say, screw it and cover in trees. It's gotta be an open field or something. At least. And if it's going to be an open field, Ned, then it's got to be something else. And there's got to be something there. Because otherwise it would just be covered in trees. Okay, so I think this area is pretty good for non-trees stuff. And we've basically done two big parts of area that I wanted to get finished this episode, and we've done them in 10 minutes combined. So we're definitely going to have to find some other stuff to do during this episode, aside from the stuff that I want to get done, at least into the last half hour, because that's when we can do some copy-pasting. I also want to do some copy-pasting over by Mason's Landing, because we have more of those little micro-dioramas, or whatever you want to call them, that I want to put out in those fields. Once I'm done doing this grass, and this grass as well, once I'm done doing all this around the edges here, I think I'm going to fly over there and take a look at them and just see if I really like what's going on, and we'll see if we can extrapolate that idea to any other things. I think if it does look as good as I remember it looking last time I looked at it, which, I want to leave some time in there so that it gives it time to sort of settle, and then I can come back to it with fresh eyes and say, yes, I do like how this looks, or no, I don't. I changed my mind. So, now that some time has passed, now that we've had a couple weeks go by where we haven't done anything with those areas, I think it's time to look back on them and decide what we want to do. And if we actually like what we did. Wrong grass. Speaking of the Discord server, today we ran a pretty cool extended version of Iron Horseman Radio, which for those who don't know what that is, we've got a couple of channels where the Groovy bot is active also. Turn down your render distance again, Ellis. Where the Groovy Music bot is active, and boy is it groovy. It's really groovy, man. And because of that, we can play music and playlists from YouTube and I think Spotify, through the bot. Which I love, because we have a YouTube playlist of songs that were compiled by various Iron Horseman members that we use for what's called Iron Horseman Radio. But I decided that that wasn't good enough. So I go on there as a host of Iron Horseman Radio, and people will suggest songs to the Groovy bot, and I will take them and immediately pile them into the playlist so that anytime that we come back and we go, oh, we need some tunes, we can just put the playlist on, shuffle it, and we have all this basically crowdsourced music, which is such a cool idea in my mind, because it means that we have a little bit of everybody's tastes. Everybody in not just the Iron Horseman, but in the Discord too. That makes me excited. That makes me very happy. I like going through there and listening to all this different stuff. There are some people that have wildly different tastes. Some people that listen to stuff that I've never even heard or thought of. It's all spectacular. I really, really do love it. It's one of my favorite things about the Discord server. Anyway, so we need to figure out what we're doing with this area, and I'm thinking campsite, or scenic overlook, or both. Originally I said something about putting a ring road in here, and I think I am still going to do that. Starting right now. Alright, let's turn off, oh, I don't want to remove the vertex, I want to remove the, gradient. There we go. I'm not sure how viable this is going to be realistically, but I want to have it like this. Look at this ring road here. Alright. So this area is going to be like a little campsite thing, I think. Maybe like Arrowhead campsite, because this road sort of looks like a... Well, it looks like the end of a turkey baster, honestly, but turkey baster campsite is not... Well, okay, the pilgrims ate turkeys on Thanksgiving. We can call it pilgrim campsite. I like that. Let's see. Where is one of our signs? There's one down in there. I don't remember what they are, so I'm just gonna... I know it's down there somewhere. Did I name the... Oh, wait. Oh, I just saw it. It said runway number. It's buried somewhere. Oh, I got it! Oh, and I placed down 2 of them by accident. Let's go over here. Oliver just made a sort of weird noise. So, pilgrim campsite. I'm just gonna put this like up here and then lower it a bit. Three feet underground, 1 meter below the surface. It's not quite 3 feet, but the conversion's almost there, so it is what it is. Alright, back to placing down this stuff. This is going to be one of those things where I'm not sure if we're going to be able to finish it this episode, because the fact of the matter is, I'm probably going to end up pacing over everything here with trees and then digging the campsite out. So if we don't do that before the last half hour of the video, because it involves copy-pasting, I don't think I'm going to be able to build a whole campsite in half an hour, because I've never built a campsite before, and I don't know what assets I need for it. Hell, I don't know what assets I have for it. If you guys know good campsite assets, let me know. And I'm not even sure what I will put over here. Obviously tents and stuff. But what else, you know? I feel like this deserves some sort of little monument post or something. I wanted to put like an engine on a plinth, but that seems ridiculous for a campsite in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, that seems like a lot of extra. I don't know why anybody would have those. There certainly wasn't a railroad over here. And I don't even think there was ever one up RJ Canyon, so... Or else, well, you'd really be able to tell. What else? What else is there to discuss? Well, since I haven't been doing the weekly timetables lately, they had a bit of a resurgence and they fell off again, but I intend to do them every once in a while. Sunday evenings, they fly by and then it's bedtime. You know, I gotta get up to go to work the next day. So it's like, nah, never mind. Let's not do this right now. And then there's never another time where I want to do it. So, that's why that's so difficult. Did I just delete something? I think I deleted a small piece of road. Anyway. Oliver, how are you? He's taking a nap. He's sleepy dog. Sleepy doge. Depressed doge. Now he's looking at me. I don't have anything for you. I just wanted to know how you were doing, Oliver. I don't have anything. So why aren't you waking up? It's okay. Oh boy. Okay, so here's our campsite. Again, I think I'm just going to run over it with trees, and then we'll come back to it later. Oh, excuse me. Alright. So this area is basically done until we can copy-paste. We're missing a spot. That needs to get filled in. This area's all done, so that means aside from the campsite and this area right here, everything over here is done. And this area, I think we just finished this, so this only needs copy-pasting trees. So that's really good as well. And then the minor scenery work that happens after that. This needs trees, so let's do some stuff on here. Let's just get ourselves out the other side of the swamp as soon as we can. Because once we have an area that is good enough, and is good aside from the trees that we need to put down, then we can move on to some other things today. And so the first thing I think is going to be, well, it's going to be a lot of looking around and brainstorming from here. Because aside from the areas that are very obvious what we need to do, where I just need to put down grass and then trees and then some basic texture and stuff, aside from those areas, the other areas I haven't really thought that much about. Alright, that's grass for there, that's good. We have another spot that's missing grass. No, over here, but this is a little bit more of a sticky wicket, as it were. I don't really know what I need to put here. We have this here, and then we had a line that was planned to go down this way. That never came to fruition, as you guys probably know. Also, I think I'm going to make this bigger. Because I feel like this is not that big for a quarry. Or at least it's not big enough. I don't want to go nuts with it, but I just feel like that more needs to be going on here. Oh, crap. I need to get rid of this water. And in fact, one of the things I think I'm going to do is delete the water out of... So remove that. And I want to remove the water out of here too, and then just make it a much lower portion that has a little bit of water in it. I just want to cut that off from any surrounding water just in case. I don't want to lower all the water on the planet. There we go. And then, so let's grab this. Now give me this. And use this on this area here. Right up to the edge of the farm. Okay. We'll put some maybe smaller buildings in there to give this a little bit of extra something. But I felt like this was not big enough. And even then, that's not that much bigger, but at least it's a little bit more believable in terms of quarry size. Or it's closer to believable. I still think it's way too small. The thing is, I don't know much about quarry size. I only know what I've seen a little bit in real life and a little bit on, like, Google Earth and stuff, Google Maps. And so, what I'm seeing, in real life it's tough to get a scale idea. In Google Earth it's tough to get, like, a feel for how big it actually is. So, I'm just sort of thinking, okay, how big is actually reasonable, and just going from there. I don't have that much of an idea of what is supposed to look good, or what will look good. So yeah. I mean, we have a much larger quarry now, so that's a little bit more realistic, I think, than what we had before. Just a little bit, though. Did we? No, we don't have switch stands for this yet. Okay, so we'll come back to this area, although, let's see. So these areas, they do look pretty good. I would love to do some PBR textures with these, although maybe I can get away with a really, really thin grass spline. Not thin enough. Too thin. Doesn't look like anything. Nah, it's too repeating. Still too repeating. Same thing. Damn. I don't know, I really like these, but I just wish there was more contrast in terms of ground. The fields themselves look so bland. But I suppose that's not the most unrealistic looking thing. I don't know. I'm thinking about this. If you guys have a way to make this look better, let me know. I'm just going to go through real quick and check that there's no other spline that I feel like I can use for this. I'd like it to be something really big. That's barley. Something really big that isn't a crop. Let's see. When my hand is cramping up. Instant grass. Kind of wish that this was more contiguous. Would use it if it was. That doesn't look good. Okay, that's nice, but it doesn't look like anything at a distance. I think that's going to be the issue, though. You know, when we're going by these fields, then we'll be able to see some of the stuff up close, like this. Now, let's see if I just lay down some of this here, and we're on the train, and we look out, and we can see a little bit of grassiness. And I think that actually might be good. I'm just not sure if it's good enough. I'm not sure if there's enough grass there. Ultimately, I think I'm going to have to go with it. Let's make sure that I can use it. Grass ground broad. So I have the content manager open. Yeah, I actually have this on the DLS. Okay, so for those of you that haven't gotten enough of me doing grass, I'm at the very least going to do all this area nearby the tracks. And I don't care if it overlaps with other grass, I don't care if it gets, overlapped by other grass or objects or anything. These are little dandelion weeds. They don't care about anything. They'll grow up through concrete, they'll grow through anything. I am just literally guessing as to what areas are properly covered and what areas aren't, because it's just really tough to see at this point. And the only thing I care about is having just a little bit of texture on the hillsides for when you're looking out of a train. And, of course, I'm not going to do any half measures. I am going to cover the entire pasture. But that is what this is. That is the goal. I wish I had PBR textures. Unfortunately, I do not. And also, PBR in my head is still Pabst Blue Ribbon, and there's no changing that. It's booze, man. It's booze. Which, I mean, sure it would make me feel kind of giddy and drunk to have those textures. So I don't think it's that far off. I don't even know how wide this spline is. I'm thinking of the other spline, which was kind of narrow, but too patchy for me. Because splines, we just don't have enough of them. We don't have enough on this route. Nobody's ever said to me, wow, that's enough splines. Most of them, they're saying, wow, more splines, we need more. That's what everyone's saying to me. So I am going to fill this entire area with splines. And hopefully it doesn't take too much of an obscene amount of time. I can really only see them if I zoom in like this, actually. Oh, that's better. That kind of hurts my eyes to look at for long periods. But for now, we're going to look at it like this. And we'll know where we put the grass down. I've had to do this before when I couldn't see something because of textures. And we do have fences to mark the boundaries, so I at least know if we've gone too far, far enough, or not far enough. Thankfully, this stuff is unpatterned enough that I could just block it out and be very minimalistic with the number of splines that I use, and nobody would be able to tell the difference. Unfortunately, I'm not doing that, because I want to melt people's computers. See, this right here is actually, this entire map is actually a secret Russian plot to destroy computers. But it's also sponsored by Moms Against Violent Video Games, because if your computer is destroyed, then you can't play the video games. Like trains. Because it's violent. Very violent. But of course, I can make jokes about that all day. The internet has been doing it for the past several weeks. Or past week, I guess. It seems longer in internet years. Okay. I bet you thought I was done doing this for a while, huh? But here we are, staring into the endless blue of grid and placing down grass still. I don't even know what I'm going to do with this other area. Or these other areas, rather. Okay. Again, I don't really care if this grass goes outside, because this is probably the most tame grass that we've used thus far. You know, it's very not dense. You know, it's not very dense. It is very short, so it's difficult to see twofold. And it can pretty much hide anywhere. You know, it belongs almost anywhere, like I said. These are the weeds that grow up through the cracks of the concrete that you're trying to exterminate, but they just won't go away. You might give them a quick death, but it was not out of mercy. You guys know what I'm talking about. I'm sure you do. Alright, that's going to be one farm plot done, and we'll not do the other ones right now because I really don't want to. Let's turn off the grid because holy cow. That is a little bit better, actually. It really does add a little something. It adds a little bit of texture, which is just enough. Just barely enough. Okay. So, that's the thing, though. We need to brainstorm with this area here. I think we might have some trees over here. I don't know about this area. And trees all up here. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to fill in these intermediate areas with trees or not. We might do stands of trees, because that is actually kind of realistic. So, yeah, this is just crappy highway for the sake of having a highway connection to show that it exists. These hills are very, very steep. Let's, hold on, how steep is this hill? So, grab the gradient. It's a 9% grade. That actually isn't unheard of on highways, but it's not good by any means. Also, I can turn off this this thing right there. Dirt road through the mountains here, down. We gotta have a railroad crossing here, and this is where we are in terms of, I don't really know what I want to do here. My first thought was I want to have this peel off to an industry, but the switch is too far back. The other thing we can do is just move the signal bridge back a ways. This is so stupid, honestly. It's like a 2% grade. I wouldn't want to straighten it out and make it worse, but before this cut, I want to have a spur come off, which means I need to move this stuff back. So we're going to be doing some track work for the first time in quite a while. I think, at least major track work-wise. Alright, so slide these signals up to here. That works. And I'm going to redo this track pretty much from scratch. I want to move this signal back to about here. Let's grab our normal track. Oh, let's turn off this gradient. So let me make sure that the stuff is properly straightened. You're not. Break that, break that. We're using these guys for switch stands, so let's get some. Let me steal that. Yep, that's what I want. What I really, really want. Let's get rid of this gradient as well, for now. And I want to have a spur that peels off here. Right now, so in the course of this episode, I've covered two of the most common YouTube advertisements for me. The Grammarly ads, which are everywhere, and the ortho ads, which basically, I mean, these guys should be paying me now, right? Because, where did the switch stand go? No, wait. Seriously. Where's the switch stand? It's invisible now. Okay. Let's put down another one. Now it's visible again. So, see, the thing is, it really depends on how old we say this area is, right? Because it's possible that this area wasn't really developed for quite some time, because it's in this little, it's almost like a box canyon. There's basically no easy way in and no easy way out. Honestly, it should be kind of filled with water. But instead, we're going to have a farm or something. This is just going that way to like a scenic overlook or something. Yeah, I don't know about this. Let's see, where are we? We're here. I can't fathom anything else being up here aside from a farm. There's not even like a major road here. This, I mean, I could say in this area it would make sense to have, you know, maybe a little freight spur, and then drop stuff off, and that we'd have a road that connects to the highway, which honestly I I should kind of do anyway. And then I can build a very small town in here. But as for over here, no, I just don't know. I don't know what belongs over here, or what could possibly belong over here. Well, I suppose this whole area could be a farm. And we could have a very small grain elevator with one car. It would also be an absolute pain in the neck to switch out because of the way these switches are arranged. You'd have to leave something on the main line if you really wanted to switch it out. Which, again, does make things interesting, but not necessarily in a good way, or maybe not even in a realistic way. So, I mean, I could just add a second spur here. But since it's only one car, I think we might be able to get away with doing that. The only other thing I could think to do is maybe add another crossover, like back here. But even then, so the train pulls into here. Well, let's see, because we have to shove the cars that are being loaded or unloaded across on their own. So they would have to be at the front of the train. So it leaves the train on the main, grabs the first car, grabs the car out of there, puts it on the train, takes the first car back, puts it in there, grabs the train, and leaves. That's the only thing I can think that would happen, and meanwhile we can have a train that stops here, piles up here, and then another one that's waiting maybe back here on the side of the tunnel. Yeah, because there's a signal there. So, we have room for there to be a meet there, I guess. Freight house here is not out of the question. And then having a small town here is not out of the question either. This area is kind of barren right now, so I think doing that would actually be a pretty significant improvement to the way it looks. So let's grab our trusty asphalt road and make a very, very, very small town. Let's see, where's our nearest asphalt road? I think this one's it. Yeah, right there. The thing that we need to always pay attention to is if a road leads off into the middle of nowhere, we have to have a way to, bring it back. So, it has to come out the other side, is what I'm saying, is what I mean. Is that a... Oh, okay. Alright. So, the thing we want to do is make a very short stretch of highway here. I mean, very short stretch. We need to maintain the appearances of this. Although I don't suppose it really matters, we can just do this again. Boop. Very short stretch of this highway here that does not have the guardrail in the middle of it. Like so. Connect, please. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, so this is going to spruce up this area a little bit. I think having all this stuff along the VMR is actually really important, because it lends a lot of credence to the idea that this, that we're in a real world, or a realistic world, and that and B, that this railroad actually runs through area where, well, things go on. You know, it's sometimes tough to, a lot of the time, I guess, we think about building our routes, and we build them, and we build them, and we build them, and we're focused solely on the route part. You know, the railroad's going from here to here to here, and it goes through these beautiful terrain features and whatever. And I feel like it's way too easy for a lot of us to just sort of go, and, you know, it passes through a couple of towns or whatever. You know, it goes to these industries, I guess. And not really ever elaborate on that to the point of, okay, and there's a small town here, and a small town here, and a small town here, and they've got all these, you know, they've got this little industry, and this little industry, and this little industry. You know, I feel like it's very easy to fall into the trap of, you have a very small town, and then countless miles of empty, desolate track, and then one more very small town that justifies the railroad's existence somehow. It's, you know, certainly it's because building towns is a pain in the neck. As you guys, I'm sure, know after watching the series for so long, or if you're new, you can go back and watch the old episodes with me and Olive. But that is exactly what it is. It's just, I think that's such a weakness of people, because we don't commit, and we make a minimal number of towns, is what I would say. A minimal number. And that's shameful. Come on, guys. We can do better than that. We can build some cool routes and stuff. I look forward to seeing whoever's route review that I do this week. You know, every time I do a route review, it's nice, not just because I get to criticize somebody, of course, but because it's a very literal change of scenery. It's the kind of thing where it doesn't, I don't get to see stuff like that very often. I don't spend an awful lot of time on other people's routes. And being able to actually do that, I don't know, it's a nice thing to do. Okay, so I want a couple of roads in this town. I don't want just one, I want to have a couple. And that includes something like this. There's Main Street, right there. And I also want maybe a gravel road that continues a little past here. I mean, I've seen smaller. And I guess what we could actually do is have a road that just follows up the roadbed that way. I need to whip out the map and figure out where that's supposed to go. Or remember where it's supposed to go. Because I did actually mark that out at one point. And then we'll have Hilltop Road, or whatever. Probably be a couple of small houses up there. And I do actually want to continue this around the bottom of the turntable there. And we will get it to a reasonable height, so that we can do this, and if that covers up the track, that's not a reasonable height. Oh, the track is... I see. The track is the part that's screwy on this one. Which is fine, because we aren't going to be using this turntable anyway. Move this into there so it looks like we have a proper intersection and not a weird Y-shaped connection. Let's maybe raise this slightly so we get rid of the Z fighting. Too much. Alright, there we go. Yeah, and I do want this area to be flat. So this is totally me brainstorming right now. I want there to be a couple houses up here, a couple houses up here, maybe one or two businesses over here, a little warehouse, and let's see, one more row of houses maybe along this waterfront strip. So we'll have a little railroad crossing here. Whoops, that's not a railroad crossing. Yeah. Yep, just more roads that run right along the tracks is what I'm going for, of course, as you can, I'm sure, tell. I'm sure it'll be annoying to the people who live here, but these are people that... I mean, this is desolate. This is desolate. This is the middle of straight nowhere. They're probably either fishermen who fish the lake, or people who have fancy houses out here, or whatever. This is going to be rarely serviced. And I'm also going to call this area Lion. I don't think I have a name for it otherwise. So let's Lion turntable. So this sort of breaks with the presidential naming convention, huh? Okay, we're back on the question of, so we have a cool area, we have some functional stuff, and in the back of my mind I'm going, I should make some, or we have some dysfunctional stuff, some non-functional stuff. And in the back of my mind I'm going, okay, yeah, we have that. Now what? What do I do with it? Do I make it functional? Because, I mean, it feels like a waste to have this stuff that's taking up space that's non-functional. Right? So, like this turntable, and this would be maybe the only thing that I do it with. You know what? I really don't want that to happen. So I'll just do that. What the hell? Oh, okay, I see. Yep. So that goes to right there, and also we'll have a second little railroad crossing here. Or something like that. And we'll have to ATLS these or whatever. But it's worth it. It's worth it for the reality of it all. Also, I want to have the road come down here, and just to, like, right here. Although that doesn't look particularly good. And we did spend a bit of time trying to get this area to look okay with the track. So I might actually not do this. I might just have the road go to there. I want to have a stub of a road there so it doesn't look like it just loops back into itself, because this isn't a video game world. Oh wait, it kind of is. Oh well. So, yeah. And the other thing is I might make a slightly larger yard, or at least the remnants of one over here. That would kind of make sense. And this, I would say this is a flag stop, but the station isn't on the main line. In order to even get over here, you've got to be coming to this spot for a reason. So I would wager there isn't even service out of here. And to that end, I would maybe say that we'll have the Lion Depot over here, which makes slightly more sense, but at the same time less, because you could actually have it up here. And in fact, I might even do that. So we'll have like a lion flag stop up there. And I kind of want to have just a car that is constantly parked there, like a baggage car or something. I don't know, I'm thinking about this. Really thinking about this a lot. Putting more thought into this little town than I did into Adams. Holy God, where did all the cars come from? Alakazam. They're all gone. No, never mind. We just have different ones. Anyway, we have a few comments this episode, so let's talk about them real quick. PRR Productions, timestamp 1706. It's funny because you don't want to know why it's funny. And I listened to that section, and you're right. I don't know why it's funny. Could you shed some light on it for the rest of us? Because if I don't know why it's funny and I'm the one that said it, I get the sneaking feeling that a lot of other people don't know why it's funny either. And I'd like to be funny. So, you know, if you want to share with the class, go ahead. Alright, so is this everything we're going to do with this area here? I think it might be. At least for now, until we come by with the buildings. And so, since we have a name for this place, I think I'm actually going to do Lionhead because it sounds way cooler. So you can't actually pick up passengers at the Lionhead depot anymore. This is the Icer House. We're going to have an ice platform here. I need to set up that multiple industry, although it's going to be summertime, so that's going to be completely worthless. I forgot, we're not going to be doing that. The other thing I need to do is add switch stands to this. Oh, you have a switch stand like normal. You don't. Actually, I want to put this on the other side. Right there. And then that's fine. That's fine. That technically not fine. But I guess either way wouldn't be wrong, per se. But I am going to switch it. And then set it to straight ahead. That one makes a noise. Why doesn't the other one make a noise? This one, I think I'll just switch sides. Because that is good. Okay, so we have that. And let's do... Icer House siding, Lionhead siding north, and then Lionhead siding south, and then let's do Lionhead Y, and this would be Lionhead Y south. This would be Lionhead Y. What direction is this? This is west. And then Lionhead Y. North. So we've named the switch stands here. That's important. Oh, right. Lionhead good siding. Or just Lionhead siding, I guess. Okay, so now back to this area here that's continuing to vex me. Once again, yeah, I think a grain elevator is the best thing for here, so let's see if we can find a really small grain elevator that will fit there, just to sort of keep me reminded of what's supposed to go there. Whoops, and give me you. And this is hanging off the end of the embankment for whatever reason, so let's do that. Slide this back towards the edge. Matthew Bacon says, at 104 minutes, or 1 hour and 4 minutes, I mean, what you describe here is literally Christine movie/book. So I had never heard of this. TJ, believe it or not, had. Where did the switch stands go? Hold on. This one is still here. Where's that one? Watch, I'm gonna select this one that's gonna crash the game or something. Oh, they're back now. Okay, only when I turn my back, I guess. So, Christine, I looked it up. Now I want to read the book. I really do. And for those who don't know what it is, I also recommend that you look it up. It's just about, like, a possessed car. And it sounds kind of amazing. I want to read more about it and get a feel for, like, did people like it or not? Apparently it's got a movie adaptation, but what doesn't these days? I had never heard of this, and now I'm super intrigued, because, I mean, it just seems like it would be kind of fun to read and then give my opinions on. I've got so many books to read, honestly. I almost shouldn't be saying this, because I do not have time to put another book on my list, but I appreciate that you've introduced me to this, and I will endeavor to read it at some point. Likewise, my book recommendation, which has nothing to do with anything, is a historical book. It is called The Railroad That Came Out at Night. It is about the Union Freight Railroad, which ran on Atlantic Avenue in Boston, and it's about a number of other things. I've probably brought it up multiple times, numerous times. TJ currently has my copy of it, and I want him to read it. But he's a busy person. So, he's basically just keeping it. And I don't think I'm ever getting it back. I'm kidding, of course. I'll beat him up. So, yeah, I really want to read this book. It sounds honestly really funny. Not like funny, like haha funny, like I'm gonna laugh, because it's dramatic, certainly. It's it's a drama of a book, and it's got a lot of gravitas to it, it seems. But at the same time, I really want to see it. It's sort of like almost like a rubber in a way, where it's messed up, but it's entertaining just because it's so bizarre. Anyway. What's this? Uh-oh. I need to check something. So, okay, that's that area and this area mostly squared away. I need a very, very small grain elevator, and I think I might use something that's even smaller than the one in Mason's Landing. I just don't know. Although, actually, we could... Well, it doesn't work in this day and age, huh? You need an actual grain elevator to store the stuff. Yutz Feed and Seed. That looks JR. I can almost assure you it's JR. And these are all JR, actually. Does that say JR? Yeah, JR Yutz Feed and Seed. So it is JR. Who would have thunk? Wow, some of these are just stupendously huge. Wait a minute. It seems to be working fine. Sorry, I got distracted for a second. Oh, I see. Okay, so I really need to find something that I like to go over here. And I want something relatively small. You know, this is what we... That's loud. This is what we used up there. But if we do something even smaller, I wouldn't be opposed to that. Unfortunately, that's all we have right now. But we can use just that and a grain auger instead of an actual thing. Let's just see. Silo. Whoops, silo. Silo complex. Nitrate silo. What? So, what are nitrates and how do you get them? Because I might do that instead of grain, just to shake things up a little bit up here. I really just want one silo. So I guess I can just use this. No, can't answer that. Oops, no, I wanted to move. I wanted to move that. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, this is cool looking. I'll use that. And then I want... Let me make sure that I can use it. Yeah, it's built in. Alright, cool. So we will use that. And part of me wants to have a little goods track too, but I suppose if you need goods, you can just drive over the hill. Okay, so next area. Or next thing. Dean, also, funnily enough, the Walmarts down in Memphis don't sell firearms. They haven't for years. Well, I'm sorry. That's a shame. You can't do your one-stop shop. It's funny. I saw possibly the most amusing post, not because it was funny, but because it was just an angle that I had not even thought to think of. So Walmart says it's going to stop selling violent video games, of course, because that's what's causing this. As we all know, that is what's causing this. And so Walmart's going to stop selling them. Not the guns, though. Not to say that guns cause it, but, you know. It's just, you know, gun stores. Those are a thing. Go to a gun store. That said, go to video game store for your violent video games, I guess. Because that's what, you know, this random person on Reddit made a random little meme. And it made me go like, oh, wow, yeah. Which is that, you know, it was just, you know, Walmart says it's going to stop selling violent video games. And GameStop is, you know, just looking in from the side like, excellent. You know, GameStop, not in a great place, But if GameStop suddenly has Walmart as, you know, if GameStop suddenly has significantly reduced competition from Walmart, that's a real game changer for GameStop. So that's, one, I guess, good thing that could come out of this situation. I don't know. Depends if you like GameStop or not. You shouldn't like GameStop if you like trading your stuff back, but other than that, I don't think there's anything wrong with them. They charge outrageous, or, they don't charge outrageous prices, but you get nothing from them, basically, if you go to trade something in, which is why I never trade anything in. But aside from that, I don't care. I like GameStop. I'll go there for my gaming needs. I have, their rewards card or whatever. I hardly ever use it, but I do go there when I need to. I don't like the fact that this right-of-way is just so impressively wide for something relatively small. You know what I should have done? I should have gone over it with a, I'm just going to go over it with a light plateau tool, maybe, instead of this. Honestly, how much do I care? Not really sure. We'll come back to that. I just wanted to connect that up. So now we have this farm building, we have this spur that does something, we have the town of Lionhead, which looks like it's going to be pretty good. The other thing I could do if I ever wanted to go up this way is I could have, also, this technically I should have another tile over here, but I could / should, or I could have a small mine up this way. That would be maybe something to do. Again, something relatively small, maybe only a couple of things of coal. That's the other thing I could have done over here in this little valley, is have a small coal mine. But we're not really in the mineral-rich part of, thing yet. That said, how is this town so big? Let me see, where could I stick a mine? Go over here. The Lionhead turn, where would that run out of? Olive, maybe? That would be another thing to fit into Olive. That would be kind of difficult, having another train that works out of Olive. It's entirely possible they could work. If I added one spur here to keep stuff, they could work out of Lionhead, or they could even work out of Jefferson, and they would come through, and they would just come up to, to here. This would be their final point, and then they'd turn and go back down. Maybe they would drop off cars in Olive. But if they're doing that, then why not just store the power there? Because, oh god, that's loud. Because we have plenty of space for it. We just don't have space for the actual train. Is there another yard along the way that No, there isn't. That said, we literally have 2 industries up here. That's it. 2 industries. One that's going to make 1 car of grain, and one that's going to take 1 boxcar. The only other thing I could do is if I had a very small coal mine here, which is getting more and more tempting, and yeah, I'm going to do that. Having a tiny coal mine here is totally within the scope of what we're doing. And I think I'm going to put it right over here, because there was a little breakers that I remember seeing in Pennsylvania that I was like, oh, that's cool. That's nice. Not all coal mines have to be big. So let's flatten this area here. This is, I think, going to be the first coal mine on the route, which we're already getting up there in the hills. We're 300 feet above sea level, which isn't that crazy, but it's more than we had. It's a lot higher than where we started. Alright, so let's scope creep ourselves to death, is what we're doing. So this is just a rough approximation of where I want the tracks to go, and they're going to join up right there. And we don't have much of a lead to play on, but that's fine by me. And then, Chris, you can provide some advisement. If you watch this episode, you can provide some advisory stuff on how to do this. Again, I just want something very small here, only a couple of tracks. And it's just going to be a little shaft mine. Oh, whoops. It didn't place another spline point there. I really wanted one. I wanted another spline point here. So I need this. And I also want... I want to be able to flatten out this area, at least to some extent. Having an area that's kind of not the flattest is really... I mean, it's fine, but ultimately I want to be able to have an area that's flat and relatively sane in appearance. Straighten this out. I'll call it a colliery instead of a mine, just so it has that sort of coolish name, cooler name. Autocoola. And some of these, there's probably only going to be one mine track here. The other ones are going to be storage tracks. Loading track versus just storage tracks. I could do not a coal mine, but, it's so easy to get coal. Or not easy to get coal, but it's so easy to say, coal. It's a relatively simple commodity to jump to. If I delete this, what happens? Make these both this length, and then pull this one out a little bit, and we'll have this one be the loading track, and those two be just storage. This will be run by the Lion turn, or the Lionhead turn. And I think I'm just going to call it Lionhead Mine for now. Oh crap, I'm doing this with, hold on, I need the right things. These garbage little things right here. Yep, that's fine. Although, actually, no, it should be the other way around. Yep, that's good. Mine sidings. Loader, or tipple, or whatever you want to call it. And then Lionhead mine. So, Chris can probably talk about what I did wrong and what I didn't do wrong. I'm sure I'll hear from him a lot. But anyway, yeah, this is going to be like the business end of the town. Like, literally. As in, business is going to be conducted here. Which means I actually should probably get, yeah, this. A little road that comes off of here. Straighten. No, 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 no. I want to straighten. Straighten that spline out. There we go. And now I want some gravel. So give me that gravel. I'm sure the maximum stretch count has not, in fact, been reached. Okay. First coal mine on the railroad. And where are we for time? Hour and 20. Wow, that really flew by, huh? This feels like a model railroad section, honestly. Not sure I like it. I like the fact that it exists. We can do it right, I'm sure. We can make this look half decent. Let's be honest, real railroads do a lot of the time look like model railroads if you're just looking at the track arrangement. Alright, so Lionhead, and then all this stuff. RJ Canyon. Okay, so we looked at these, and we agreed that we like it, but we need to put grass in the fields. So that's a start. We have more to do in Mason's Landing, but not a whole lot. You know, I want to put some trees down. That's one of the things, and I want to use those things that we created to put trees in some of these little empty field areas. But other than that, we're doing pretty well with this area here. And in fact, this in particular is gorgeous to me. Back of the base shipbuilding needs to get done. This area needs to get done. But on the whole, Preparation H feels good. We need to get up to the creek here. We need to fill this area in here. Again, how are we doing for time? At this point, I'm stalling until we hit a half an hour before, and I can actually do that. So, we have two small towns to take care of now. This is going to be probably the more annoying one. Doe Cliff. We have Doe Cliff and Lionhead. The other thing that I want to do in Doe Cliff, and I want to use these that we've been using for tram stops for it, actually. Because actually, I really do like these invisible stations. I want to have a Lionhead flag stop, which is going to be like right here. So that the train coming through can actually stop at Lionhead. And it's just going to be a platform. It's really not going to be anything else. This is blossomed. Again, with the, it's important to not cram stuff too close together. But at the same time, we are kind of in the middle of nowhere, and we're in the middle of nowhere in more than one way. We are along the right-of-way, we're in the middle of nowhere. We don't have much nearby in terms of anything that the train does. But on top of that, we are physically pretty in the middle of nowhere. In fact, we're much closer to the middle of nowhere than I expected. We're a lot farther from Doe Cliff than I realized. And the next town down the line is Adams, and that's all the way over here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 7 miles, 7.5 miles. That's a ways for towns to be separated. That's not bad. And this is very different than Adams. It's not going to have the same touristy background. So anyway, This is going to be Lionhead flag stop. It's going to be right before the spur to the mine. But hey, that's what it is. It is what it is. What else? I feel like there are other things we need to name. We don't have a name for this valley here. And I should probably be putting up fences and stuff. A couple cattle guards at these dirt roads, maybe. I should get rid of this road. That road has no purpose at all. And as for Doe Cliff, this is the kind of thing where we need to get cracking with figuring out what it's going to be here. I know it's going to be very deeply industrial. It's going to be like a miniature version of the real life, wherever that bridge goes. Poughkeepsie. And, basically we have nothing to do between Adams and Lion, or between the swamp and Lion. There are a couple of major terrain features in terms of rivers. There's one there, and there's one that we follow. But aside from that, it's really just putting down grass and then putting trees on top of it, and then whatever. Also, I feel bad for the people that I said skip this episode if you don't want to see me putting down grass, because we just made Lionhead, and that was actually pretty cool. And I think I'm going to name this episode... What am I going to name this episode? Two Tiny Towns in the Middle of Nowhere, or Two Little Towns, or The Town of Lionhead, or something like that. I don't know. There's a lot that I could call it. I want to draw people in and let people know that we're working on another town right now. That we are actually doing something fairly creative instead of putting down... Instead of just putting down grass all episode. Because, yeah, I know it's boring. I know it is. It's gotta be done. Why do I do it on film? Because I don't work on the route otherwise. I don't have that much disposable time. So, uh-oh. Why is my keyboard not working? Oh, there we go. So, that's the important part right now. I'm actually getting this grass done so that when it hits half an hour in a couple of minutes, we can have the trees in this area done. I don't know about the stuff really close to the riverbank, but I do want trees in these areas here. And getting the grass done, as you guys know, is an important prerequisite to that. And now we have the lake. This is Ciara Lake, or Soybean Lake. I don't know what to call it. Maybe Soybean Lake. Doesn't look anything like a soybean, but doesn't mean it has to. No, nobody says it has to look like it. Doesn't even look like a kidney bean. That's one I could go with. I just thought of almond milk, and then I thought of cheese, and I want cheese. I could go for some cheese. Oh, I got pizza in the fridge. That's what I'm going to eat for dinner. Yeah. It always devolves to food now, this show. It's been food now for like 3 episodes in a row. Anyway, we also do have to... So if I'm making a checklist, it's now Lionhead, Doe Cliff, the Valley, the Industrial District of Mason Valley, or in districts, plural. All the forest, and also we need to finish that river. It's like the one piece of terrain work that we have to do, because I lost it originally. We have to finish that river that connects to Lionhead Lake. So, yeah. That needs to get done. I've been putting that off for quite some time. So, it's high time that it gets done. Alright, so it's time to do some copy pasting. Hopefully we don't have a game crash. I would appreciate that very much. I don't want to paste height. I don't want to paste splines. You guys know the drill. Let's grab something that's particularly dense. If there's an area that we did the double copy paste in, this is an area. It doesn't have the double copy paste, but it does have higher than average density along its edge. So that's a good thing. At least it means that the density will be kind of uneven, and I'm going to rotate this once for every paste that we do, just to keep things interesting. Although at this point it seems like it's being uncooperative because of it. It said this is going fairly well. I do want to pretty much cover the area with the grass. I don't want to leave too much grass sticking out. That area I'm probably going to have to do by hand. Because this right here is it's too close to the track. Although if I grab a small section like this, yeah, that should do it. There we go. That did it. That did fine. I do need another large section. Let's just finish the area that we can do with the small section for now. There and loitering, and I missed another spot right there. Okay. So I need to get this area in here and this area in here, which we have a fairly small tool. It's still too big. Damn. Okay, so let's just grab another swath of trees out of that area right there, and let's see what we can do along these edges here. Also, we do have to fill in that one spot that we noticed that is missing texture. I don't remember where that is. We'll have to find it again. It's okay if we encroach a little bit or leave a little bit of extra space. I intend to fill in the extra space mostly with brown instead of green this time. And at the very least, as you guys I'm sure recall, we're going to have to go along the edge here and smooth everything out just to make sure that it doesn't look so jagged now that we've done the trees themselves. And move the trees back that are encroaching on the road and the edge of the swamp. I keep seeing out of the corner of my eye some red flashing like I'm in War Thunder, and there's a enemy plane to my left. Not like in real life, I mean on the screen, and I think it might just be the little Bandicam. Either the FPS monitor is tripping me out, or the actual window for Bandicam is just off to the side, and there's a big red record button, and I might just be seeing it. It looks like it's flickering, but if you've ever done those optical illusions where you move something until it's in your blind spot in the corner of your vision, or the side of your vision, I think that's what's happening to me. Or I possibly could be losing my mind and the spline points have finally got to me, which that would be kind of a momentous occasion, but it would be bad because I wouldn't be able to finish Tolbrand if I'm, locked in a mental institution. We can laugh about that right until I get thrown in. Anyway, I'm not crazy. I'll just see you guys at Area 51. That's when I'll prove that I'm not crazy. We gotta keep it alive. We gotta keep that meme alive, or else it's gonna die before September 20th. And everybody involved will die on September 20th, but that's unimportant. Okay, so there we go. Fill that area in. Is this small enough? This is difficult. This is not a lot of trees. This is a very small area to try and fit trees in. Treason? Benedict Arnold would like to know your location. Okay, there we go. I'm really just going to do this and see what happens. So, we need to move some trees around. And I just moved spline points twice instead of trees. Oh well, it's the thought that counts. Just to center everything in the area where I want the trees to actually be, instead of just scattered around on the edges. Okay. We have a fairly dense patch of trees in there. Now let's just go around the edge with the dirt and make sure that we have boxed things in properly. I thought I just heard somebody shut a car door outside, but Oliver didn't even move, so I'm not sure it was a real thing. Or he just doesn't care, which is also likely. He's usually so flighty, though. Okay, so yeah, just that edge there. I kind of want to, like, kill half of those trees just to... just to make it look a little bit more real. I should have gone around the edge here so we could have started filling in trees in this direction, but oh well. Yeah, it's definitely somebody's home. I think it's Madison. Yay! Oliver. Who's that? He put his head up. He's looking at me now. I don't know. I think it's Madison. Let's see. The difference is, if it's Madison, she's going to come in here and say hi to me. If it's Shay, she's not going to come here. So, there's the door. Hello. Hello. Yes, the Windex, it should be in the closet over there. Okay, it might be on the counter then. Because I did move it for you. Hi. Hmm? Nobody, I'm in the middle of under construction. You want to say hi?
Hello.
I've got about 20 minutes left in the video. I'm just clearing a highway. I've got some areas that are going to look pretty cool that are coming along, or that are going to come along, including a little town called Lion.
In a couple of weeks.
Maybe. Anytime that you're available on a Thursday, you can let me know and hop on the show.
Probably tonight.
Sure. Hey, I'll be here. I don't get a choice.
I mean, you do.
No,
I don't. They wouldn't be happy.
I don't get a choice. I wouldn't be happy either. I've got to work on this route. It's got to come out someday. Hopefully before I die of old age.
Or before I die of old age.
If you die of old age, then I'll probably just have more time to work on the route.
Hi, Oliver. Hi, Oliver. Hi, good boy. Want to go outside with me?
He was outside earlier, tried to make a run for it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't know. It was when I had just got him home. I think he was just sort of freaking out. Yeah. He didn't want to come inside for whatever reason.
Hi, baby. I'm playing with the dog. Just for anyone
Now
who
he's
doesn't
gonna-
understand.
Now he's going to hack his lungs out. He's been apparently minorly better.
I'm patting him on the back. Maybe that'll help. I left my car running,
Poor dog.
so
Yeah,
that
go.
way I can see.
Your lights, like, never turn off. How could you not see? Oh, I might be in trouble. Anyways, we've got 20 minutes left in the episode. I'm going to try and get this stretch of highway done, and then all of the edging of the treed areas that we've done. That would be an accomplishment, because it means that we've done terrain all the way up to the edge of the swamp. Or we've done stuff all the way... contiguously... Can you shut this door? All the way to the edge of the swamp. Thank you. The AC is on in here and not in the rest of the house. Just let the cool air out of the room. So, yeah. That is a huge accomplishment. It means we're a pretty good chunk of the way to getting the scenery on this done. And, you know, like I've said, there are a few things that are going to be time-consuming. A lot of the scenicking that has to take place in the industrial districts of the towns, and also Lion now, which I don't think will take that long. Or Lionhead. And other than that, it's really just trees and grass. God, that makes me feel so good to say. I'm not even kidding, it really does. Also, Madison didn't even give me a funny look when I said about, if you die, I'll have more time to work on... If you die of old age, I'll have more time to work on the route. She didn't even give me a funny look. The joke didn't even... I'm not sure if she even, heard me. She was focused on the dog. And that makes me so sad. Because I only get, a handful of those things that I really ribber with, almost. Every once in a long while I get to say something like that. And it just went right over her head. And now I'm upset. Because it was worthless. It was so well timed, it was so well delivered, at least in my opinion. I hope at least you guys got some entertainment value out of it. If you don't have a girl that you can joke with like that, you don't have a good girl. And it just helps to, it's practice for the inevitable resentment we're going to feel for one another 60 years down the road when we've heard each other's stories 100 times. When we're sick of each other's stuff. So. Alright. Let's just finish this up. I wish it would just let me text her a little bit faster. Come on. So, again, for anybody that's curious on how I do anything, including the AI stuff, feel free to post a question about that, and I will do a tutorial Tuesday, like I said. It might not happen immediately. It'll probably happen, maybe the week after, because I don't typically look at my comments at all until Thursday rolls around, and then I read them on the show. The ones that are from the last under construction, I read on the show, and then the other ones I just either respond to if it's relevant for me to respond to, or whatever. Mark stuff down for the zombie train if we get comments about questions for the zombie train, etc. But that all happens on Thursday. If I got a request for a tutorial Tuesday, I would notice it on the following Thursday. I'd notice it next Thursday from when this is being recorded, and then the Thursday after that, or the Tuesday following that, I might find time. So it'd be like a week and a half before I did an actual tutorial on it. And of course, there's a non-zero chance that you would be able to figure it out before then, but if you wanted to wait around, I would appreciate it, and then I would be able to do something with it. Of course, you can always just ask me about stuff in the Discord. We've got a Train Throughout Building channel. That gets quite a bit of traffic, and it's where I post my little previews for what's going to be on each under construction when I'm finally done with one, like I'm about to be. And it is actually rather late for me, so it's going to be, for me, it's going to be like finish under construction, make a sandwich for me tomorrow, and then just go to sleep. It's going to be a relatively quick turnaround for me tonight, I think. Now Oliver's looking at me sadly. I think he wanted to go with Madison. Alright, let's fill that in. Let's see, we need grass along the edges, and we need the rocky texture right here. So aside from this, what other areas do we have to do? We do have to get this edge here, I think. Come on, paint. Also, we need to move that birch tree. That's not a realistic place for that birch tree. Although, I suppose I've seen similar trees in more precarious positions, including growing out of the side of a building a couple stories up, but rather not have that here. Also, considering the fact that this highway is probably relatively new, there wouldn't have been a lot of time for a tree like that to grow like that. Also, I just covered over the texture that I just did over there. Oh well. Oliver's looking at me and panting. His water's on the other side of the room. He could just walk over there and drink it if he really is thirsty. It's not even hot in here. He's sitting under the air conditioner. I don't get this dog, man. Like, why you gotta be a pain, Oliver? Why you gotta be a pain? Tomorrow's gonna be an interesting day because it's gonna be one of the first days where I have to leave for work all day, and then Oliver is, here, probably just shut in his crate. Poor guy. I'll shut him in his crate, and give him some water, and turn on the fans in that room so we get some fresh air all day. And it does kind of suck to be a dog, if you're, It does kind of suck to be a dog for the parts of your day where your owner isn't home, and then the other parts of the day are pretty great. All you do is just hang around, get fed, get attention. Honestly, probably great. Can't play video games, though. I guess that explains why most dogs aren't that violent. But, I assume the stereotype is pit bulls just play lots of World of Warcraft or something. Or, well, I should just pick a really non-violent game. I know the meme lately has been Minecraft, but, they must play a lot of Animal Crossing. Or, Stardew Valley, I guess, has fighting in it. What's like a really sedate, like an actual sedate game? They must play a lot of Mini Metro. People see me playing Mini Metro on my commute, and they're like, oh god, he's gonna shoot up the train. Playing Kerbal Space Program, it's like, he's clearly, he's the next serial killer, he's the next mass murderer. And you guys watching this video, I know, are like, hope he stays away from me. Look at me, I'm playing games for 2 hours straight. How on earth could I do this and not, just have that insatiable, unquellable desire to kill? Anyway, hi. Is that the rest of the brownie?
Yeah.
Could you not? I want that.
I didn't say I was going to eat the rest of it.
You didn't have to say it.
I know.
So you're going to sit there in front of Oliver eating this brownie.
Yup. Hi.
He's going to pant on you. You're going to not want that brownie anymore. So, this is kind of one of the completing gestures for this area. Getting this highway done. I forget. I'm not sure if in planning I was originally... No, originally I wasn't supposed to route a highway through the swamp at all. Poor dog. But instead, here we are. We have a highway that goes through most of the swamp, at least the drier parts. It has a couple of pretty good-sized causeways that get it across the less dry parts. I mean, it's nothing compared to the railroad, but it's quite an engineering feat for this highway. Which, honestly, is... There's no reason why this highway shouldn't go straight to not Gilson City. Yeah, Gilson City. Sorry. I was thinking of a different map. There's no reason why it shouldn't go to Gilson City. directly through Mason's Landing and everything, and I was just like, I can't do that. I don't want to have that. I want it to be a much straighter line. We have like the scenic route that goes along the coast and everything, but I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to have the railroad paralleling the highway for the whole time. Mostly because I wanted to have some cooler, more interesting interactions between the railroad and road, but also because it felt like, well, here, look at this thing that's obsoleting the highway. Also, it was more, look at this thing that's obsoleting the railroad, I mean. Also, it was a lot more work. If we're only doing smaller roads, I don't have to do nearly as much infrastructure work to get a road through an area in a realistic way. A smaller road, and even down to like the size of a gravel road, you can just route it through anything. The only problem becomes trains doesn't let you do the terrain in a fine enough manner. Oh, was that it? Are those tiles that we were trying to build through 10-meter grid? Because that would have explained why the thing was so wide. Okay, so I also need to go along the edge here. Yes, I know. I also need to go along the edge here and just trim the grass. And take a lawnmower to it. There we go. Also, I started on the tangent about, what's been going on in my life lately, because I was saying that, I don't do the weekly timetable as frequently as I did in that brief period where I did it frequently. And I was going to talk about the Volvo some more, but now we only have about 10 minutes, so I'll sum it up. I'll sum it up in, the abridged version, which is the hinges on the hatch need to be replaced, and I had to muscle the hatch back onto the car because it was just coming off in my hands. And it made me feel at the same time very strong and very weak because I was having trouble fighting the pistons that help you open the thing, that help you open the hatch. And at the same time, like, pushing that thing on and fighting the pistons, it felt like, low-grade Superman. But, yeah. If I was actually strong, I would have been able to do it without much issue.
Yeah.
Shay even came out and helped me with that, which is the only reason it actually got back on the car. But I was able to get it back on the car. I called up Tony. I was like, minor emergency. The back of my car is falling off.
The viewers know who
And
Shay is?
maybe. And he was just like, bring it in, I'll look at it, see if I can fix the hinge. I brought it to him today, and I was like, what do you think? And he's like, nah, if I fix it, it's just going to break in the same way again, because it just pulled all the threads out. So you should order a new hinge. I got home, I texted him, hey, if one hinge is going, should I invest in both of them? And he goes, yeah, probably. So I now have ordered 2 hinges, one for the left and one for the right, from a parts retailer, or from a Volvo dealership, rather, in California. And I was super happy because I was like, oh, thank God, they're nearby, they're in the country, whatever. And they even said that they'll overnight parts. And I was like, that's awesome. I'll have them tomorrow or the next day, and I'll just be able to drop the car off and say, here you go, take care of it, and then take the car to Strasbourg. Because it'll be all patched up. I got an email from them right before I started the video. It'll be 3 weeks, they're coming in from Sweden. And I went, what? Like, what happened to the overnighting parts? So, there goes that. Unfortunately, they're going to have to come in from Sweden. Hopefully I didn't get another email that's like, actually, you're not getting them. At this point, I wouldn't be particularly surprised if suddenly they just said, no, actually, we don't have the parts. I really wouldn't be surprised. I mean, the car is 26 years old. Getting new parts from a Volvo dealership is pretty rare. But I think that they've used very similar parts on a lot of cars since, maybe. I mean, obviously, they've made a lot of wagons since. I'm not sure if they've used the same parts exactly. But I could see those parts staying in production. Or at least, thank you. Or at least them having a lot of them. Because they are sort of a wear part. You know, I guess it's not preposterous that they broke. Or one of them broke and the other one might break, so it's worth replacing. Still, though, they're not cheap. For one hinge, it was like $140 plus shipping. Of course, shipping is from Sweden, apparently, so that's a bit of a distance. But still, I had to order 2 of them, and I was just like, ugh, my wallet. Let's fix this car, though. I'm gonna be happy when I run out of things to fix. That's, you know, that's what's always on the horizon. Nothing else can break once you've replaced every single part. You have a new car, basically. And I've likened this whole back and forth with, it's as if I bought a new car, except the payments that I'm making towards the new car are very irregular. And unpredictable. So,
I know. His breath smells bad.
Yeah, it does.
It's awful.
Yeah.
Oh, I want brownie.
Don't give him a brownie. He's a dog. He can't have a brownie.
It's not chocolate, though.
The brownies are. Don't give him that. Oh, that's right. This is the other part that I had to do copy-paste the trees with. Let's do this real quick before the episode ends. Paste mode. Let's get a bigger piece than that, I guess. Let's turn it sideways, just to get it in here a little bit more easily. Alright. Okay, so these areas I'm probably going to have to do by hand. They're going to end up looking like this, with the trees that, you know, just sort of fill in the gaps that I've got to do by hand. I'm going to just do this one by hand because that's a fairly simple spot. Let's grab some birch trees. There we go. And we need a couple of big leaf maples. So one there, and 1, 2, 3. There we go. The only areas that have not been copy-pasted. Oh, up here too. But you know what? We'll have to return to this next time, I think, because getting this done right now is going to be a tall order. Obviously, I can't do it in a few minutes. What I can do, I guess, is just copy over everything and then deal with it later. If I end the episode with the camera pointed directly at it, I will probably remember that I have to finish this area.
That actually looks really good.
I appreciate it. Actually, I'll show you something when I stop rolling. Also, I'm designing the very first coal mine for the map, so I'm gonna need Chris as a consultant. Here, look at it. Look at this.
Nice.
I'm so pleased with this. I am so pleased with it. Oliver's just hacking along out. Poor guy. He was so good for the last 2 hours or so. He didn't make a peep.
Yeah, I think he's allergic to me.
He might be.
Probably because I come from Macy's and all the perfumes and stuff.
Yeah. Well, do you come from a land down under?
Probably.
Okay, I need to delete all these trees in here. Get out of here. This is going to be a little campsite. Let's move that guy, move this guy, move these over here, that guy over there, this guy over here. Fill in the bald spots of the trees. Oh, speaking of which, where's that one piece that's missing? Right there.
You made it look like Google Earth for a second?
Yep. If you zoom out, you can see everything in map view. Get out of here. Get rid of these trees. Put that in there. Put this over here. Put this right there.
All over.
Poor guy.
You wanna go outside?
I don't think he wants to go anywhere right now.
You wanna go outside? Maybe that'll help.
Alright, there we go.
Wanna come with me?
Alright, we got a,
Wanna go outside? Yeah? No?
I think he wants to go anywhere. I think he wants to stay there for now. So he can calm down.
Wants to make his breath smell better.
No, he doesn't. Alright, anyway. So that's going to become our new campsite. Didn't I just put a thing down? Oh! Trains just crashed. Alright, episode's over. See you next week. This is the Admiral, signing off.